Hello. Sorry, I just got super shaky and I had to put my phone down. I was planning on videoing up high and then it wasn't working. Um, Hello. It's been a while. I last gave people an update on my house and what it looked like, and I'm gonna splice this with another update of my house simply because my house is clean. It's the living room is not right now because I've been sorting and throwing out things and packing because in less than 2 weeks I am moving. So I wanted to give an update of my new journey of what's happening and basically what's been going on in my life. It's kind of crazy, and I kind of am a mess right now because I got super sick yesterday randomly and haven't felt the best today, but yeah, it's okay. I'm feeling a little bit better, so I just thought I'd update. Anyway, so um, yeah, so I took a leave of absence from work back in February and all through March, about half of February and all through March due to stress and anxiety and honestly, I was not doing well. Depression, all of that. And during that time, I ended up taking a trip down to Florida to visit a friend of mine down there that lives down there with her family. And my dog's trying to get right up here in front of you. See, there's his nose. Lay down, buddy. So I drove 12 and a half hours and I expected to be in a lot of pain. I even told her, I said, I'm going to be down for the count tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm not going to be able to hang out. I'm really sorry. And she was like, it's okay. I understand. Like, she knows of my health conditions, everything. And like, I just expected to just be in dire pain from driving, just sitting down, driving, holding a steering wheel. It just makes my hands hurt usually. Even if I'm in the car for 30 minutes holding a steering wheel, it makes my hands hurt. So 12 and a half hours, yes, I'd taken some breaks to stop and get gas, and I'd stopped and stretched and things like that, but I just expected to be in a lot of pain. So anyway, so I got there, I slept, and I slept like, I don't know, eight hours, something like that. I don't even have any idea how long I slept, but it wasn't like an exorbitant amount of time. It was like 8 or 9 hours. Got up, no pain. I felt perfectly fine, and I was in shock. I was able to go. I went with her, took her son to some classes he's homeschooled, but he goes to some places with some other homeschooled kids. And so we went and did some shopping. We went and did lunch together. We went and got pedicures. Like, we just went out and about. And I felt perfectly fine. It was amazing. The next day we went to Universal and walked around. No pain. I walked all around for 4 hours. Walked around Harry Potter World, Universal Studios. I was perfectly fine. No pain. And I ended up being super stressed the next day because while I was down there, I ended up going to a job fair for the school corporation in the county where she lives because I had decided that maybe it wasn't that I was done with the teaching profession. Maybe I was just having some issues with where I have been. I've only ever taught at one school. I've only ever taught, at a Title I building. It's storming horribly here, so you're hearing thunder. I'm so sorry. And my other dog will probably join us shortly because she's terrified of storms. I think she's in the floor right here, actually, under my feet. But anyway, back to my story. So I went to this job fair, and there were like 25 schools there, elementary schools. I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. Because there's like 9 elementary schools where I teach. And sorry, I'm saying a lot, and that drives me crazy. So, yeah. Anyway, so I talked to pretty much all of the principals and staff there, and got to know a lot about just the as many of them as I could. Gave my name and information, my resume to several of them. I honestly, I tried not to many of the title schools, just simply because, like I said, I've only ever taught at a title school, and I was kind of ready for a change. And maybe that's bad, but 13 years at a title school, I know myself, and I knew it was time for a change. So, the next morning, bright and early, my phone rang, and it happened to say, I don't even remember, it just said something Florida. And for some reason, I answered it. I'm one of these people that if I don't recognize the number, I don't answer my phone. But it said something in Florida, like, it didn't say Pasco County, Florida, but it said one of the little cities in Florida. And so I was like, and I answered it. And it was one of the secretaries at one of the schools that I had talked to the day before, and the principal, who hadn't been able to come, wanted to interview me. So I had an interview the next day. Mind you, I was leaving on Saturday, and that job fair was on Thursday. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I went and interviewed, and this was like an 1.5 hour long interview, but I felt like it went really well. And so anyway, I ended up applying for like 7 positions down there. And I didn't tell my parents. I told my sister kind of just that I was thinking about it. I didn't really tell her. But anyway, I told her like that I hadn't felt pain while I was down there, and that that was really intriguing to me. So, anyway, I talked to that principal several more times. I she wanted several things that I kept sending her, and we were sending emails back and forth several times. She let me know she was very interested in me. During that time period, I also got a call for an interview with another school. And it was one of the schools that I had been very interested in whenever I'd gone to the job fair, because I had researched the schools before I went to the job fair of which schools were title and which schools weren't. And the school that I had gone to the interview to while I was down there was a title school. But I still was like, they were interested in me enough that they wanted to meet with me before I left town. That's pretty interesting. That's great. So anyway, I had this interview just over the phone with this other school, and I was super, it was short and sweet. The principal was super nice, real, it was a non-title building, huge school. I teach where I've taught for the last 13 years is a very small school, like 300 kids, it's a small school. There's like 3 of each grade level. So anyway, I was like, okay. And she was like, I just think you're great and all this. Anyway, she called me. She said, I'll let you know. And it was like almost 2 weeks that she said she'd let me know one way or the other. And I was like, okay. A week later, she called me and offered me a job and said, I still have more interviews, but I don't want to miss out on you, which is super flattering. But I was just in complete shock. So I was like, I was caught off guard. It was during the school day that she called. So I had gone out in the hallway to answer my phone, and simply because I recognized the number. And so I asked her just, if I could call her back tomorrow. And so anyway, I ended up accepting the job the next day. so like I had figured out that I feel a lot better simply because I live in Indiana, and the weather here shifts super rapidly. One day it's 30 degrees, the next day it's 70. Then it drops back down to 45, then it's 80, and you might have a day where it's sunny, it's rainy, and it's snowy all in a day. And like it's just the weather here kills me. Like my hands will puff up, and like I won't be able to bend my hands, or like my hips are killing me to where I just am in dire pain. And living in pain is miserable. So, so living someplace where it's more constant temperature all the time sounds much better for me. So that's my fingers crossed, is that moving to Florida, living where it's more consistent, where there's not cold weather, which is what really makes me have a lot of pain, is the cold. I'm hopeful that will make it to where I'm not so miserable and in so much pain. Add in the fact that right after I made that decision, I got offered a job at a completely different type of school than what I teach at. Fell right into place. It was great. I'm super excited about this new opportunity, this new adventure. My principal at the place where I've been teaching for the last 13 years was super supportive, offering me any help she could give. And then, so I finished off the school year. Everybody, there was sad to see me go, but they were very understanding and helpful and encouraging and all of that. A lot of them have become my family and some of my best friends over the years. So it was super sad, but, the people that it won't be the last time I see them. Anyway, so I had been planning to put my house on the market at the end of April. But my health got bad, my dad's health got bad, and he's the one that really helps me with my house, like whenever I need something fixed. And so we were not able to get things done around here. Add in that it was the end of the school year, and end of the school year is crazy. So anyway, I actually did not get my house put on the market until the middle of June. Crazy. Because I was planning to move the beginning of July. Like it wasn't like the middle of June, but it was like close to the middle of June. So anyway, this past week, I met with a realtor on Monday, signed all the paperwork. They put the sign in my front yard. It went live on like the websites and stuff on Tuesday. Mind you, I've been like getting all these different doctor's appointments and vet appointments for my dogs and rheumatologist appointments and eye doctor and dentist and every kind of appointment you can possibly get so I can get my records and everything like that. Just making sure that I have all my bases covered before I move. And I was at the doctor, and I noticed my phone, I had put it on silent, or like vibrate, not silent, but vibrate, and I noticed it kept going off in my purse, and I was like, nobody ever calls me. That's so weird. So when the doctor stepped out of the room, I grabbed my phone, and my realtor had called me twice, left a voicemail, and texted me twice. And I was like, what is going on? I'm like, when I checked before I came in here, it wasn't even up on the website yet. So she had texted me and said, I want to do a showing during this, this time. And I just texted her back and said, I'm sorry, I'm at the doctor. I said, as soon as I leave here, I can go grab my dogs, and then, yes, you can definitely show it during that time. And then she sent back, okay, can I do it at this time? Can I do it at this time? So the first showing was at 3:00. Mind you, my doctor's appointment was at 1, I think. It was at 1:15 maybe. I left my doctor's appointment at 2:20, 2:25-ish. Flew home because I knew I hadn't made my bed that morning. I never make my bed. But I was like, they're not going to show it the first day, you know, or if they do, they'll give me enough advance notice that I'll be able. Nope. So I flew home, made my bed. I had to like pick up a couple of things, like I had to put down the rug that I don't keep down in the kitchen on normally. I had to like lug the carpet cleaner down the stairs, like all these things. I had to put my dogs on their leashes, and I'm like running out the garage door to get my dogs in the car, and there's the realtor, and she's like, hey, and I'm like, ugh. And I realized she didn't have a client with her yet. She was just here to like walk around and make sure things were okay. And I was like, hey, oh gosh, okay. I wasn't like ruining things. But I ended up having 8 showings the very first day. Like, I left my house at 1 o'clock that day and got to the doctor. And then I ended up taking my dogs with me to my counseling appointment that was at 3 o'clock. And she was like, oh, I'm so excited that you brought your doggies with you. And I was like, I really hope you really feel that way because, but they were really good. They like laid down and they let her pet them and you know, they're kind of little brats sometimes, but they were good. They just kind of laid there and relaxed. They didn't run around barking or anything. They did sniff around for a few minutes, but, and then I was like, I can't go home. So we went to PetSmart and walked around there for quite a while, and then like went through a drive-through, and then I remembered there's like a pet park, like a dog park, behind like where my vet's office is, and I was like, we can go there. So we went, we parked by there, and like I ate some, and I let the dogs have, like, they love blueberries, and so I gave them some of the blueberries for my salad. Like, nothing was tasting right, and I think it was just nerves. But then I finally get them out of the car, and I go up to the gate to go in the pet park, and like you have to have a special key, and I realize I'm not a member of this pet park or dog park. I can't go in. So I was like, sorry, babies. And so we just walked around like the regular park area, and then we get back in the car, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? Like, I can't go home. So we ended up going to Roll King, where I put them in a cart so that they would not be pulling against their collars. My bigger of my 2 dogs, which weighs all of 15 pounds, she's real big. She pulls really bad and she chokes herself. So anyway, so I put them in the cart and they rode around and they were super excited until Charlie, that's my bigger dog, she decided to leap from the cart. Did not end well. She just splatted on the floor, and then she stood up and she was just kind of like, what just happened? Like, she didn't understand it all. It was really funny. And she was fine. She was not hurt at all. She's perfectly fine. She's laying on the floor. She was not injured. She just is an idiot sometimes. I love her dearly, but she's an idiot at times. And my other dog was just like, what did you just do? Like, why would you do that? But we got some treats, and they were real good. And then we were able to come home because there was like a 30-minute window in between 2 showings. So we ran home, and I let them run in the backyard, and I went to the bathroom, and they went to the bathroom. And then we left again, and we drove around the neighborhood, and then we went over and parked at the Y that's not far from our house, and just kind of hung out in the parking lot because I was like, what can we do? Like, basically, we were locked out of our house for 6 hours. No, we didn't get back home. We were not allowed back in our house until 8:30. So it was like 7.5 hours. It was ridiculous. And I mean, really, it was 3 o'clock, but I had left at 1 and come and grabbed them. And so it felt like 7.5. So really, it was just crazy that day. And so my realtor called me at 6, though, and she said, I've got 2 offers already. Mind you, the first showing was at 3, and she called me at 6 and said, I've got 2 offers. I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane. So she said, I'm on my way home. I'm getting ready to head home and eat dinner. And she said, I'll send these to you so you can check them out and then give me a call. She said, we'll talk over and see what you want to do, and I said, okay. So I didn't get them. Finally, at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, I had just got home, and she had said that at 6, and she said, I'll send them in a few minutes. And so I was like, I hadn't got them by the time it was 8:30 whenever I got home. And she still hadn't sent them. And so I sent her a message and said, I still didn't get those. And she said, oh, I'll send them right now. So by the time she sent them, and one of them I was able to get immediately, the second one she had to resend again because it didn't come through. Like it was almost 9 o'clock whenever I got them. Well, the market is so hot right now. They write offers to where basically they expire that night. Like it was going to expire at 10 p.m. one of them, which means I had an hour to decide whether I was going to accept or not. And I was like, there's no way. Like that's ridiculous. And she said, well, since I wasn't able to get this to you till now, I'll call and ask if we can have till 11. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like I am not a quick decision maker usually. I like need time to process and pros and cons and all of that stuff. Like I get major anxiety. But anyway, so I ended up like going back and forth. I talked to my sister and brother-in-law. I talked to my parents. And one of them sounded awesome because it was like it was 8,000 over asking. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. But it had all sorts of contingencies and different things that it made it to where it wasn't an awesome thing. And then the other one was asking price with no contingencies. And so I just decided, you know what? If I accepted this one, I get asking price. I have no other contingencies I have to deal with as long as the inspection's good, which it should. You know, I've lived here for almost 9 years now. There's not any major problems. So it's going to be fine. So basically, and it was the very first person that saw my house at 3:00. So within 6 hours, my house sold of being on the market. And it was the first person that saw it. I accepted that offer, obviously. And the inspection's tomorrow, fingers crossed. Like I said, I think everything's fine. I think everything should turn out fine. But, I have this like little voice always in my head, like what if something goes wrong? But I just feel like everything has just fallen into place so smoothly that this is just something that has meant to be. So, and I'm not someone who, like I said, I don't make decisions lightly. I don't, like, I get scared of change. And yet I'm making huge changes in my life. I'm moving from Indiana to Florida. I'm changing from a job that I've had for 13 years to a completely different, it's still in the field of education. I'm still going to be teaching second grade, but it's a completely different type of clientele. And I know that sounds completely weird to anyone outside of education, but working in a title building and working in a non-title building, they're completely different type of kids. Just behavior issues and, someone, I've had a second grader tell me to F off and actually say the word to me, or had chairs thrown at me, or had kids try to choke each other, or, just things that never would have ever crossed my mind. But now I'm just like, it's everyday life. It's just, I'm very jaded when it comes to things like that. Whereas, from my understanding, a kid running down the hallway would be something that would be a bad behavior at this type of a school. So I look forward to having that change. Maybe it will help with my anxiety and all of that. So like I said, I'm super excited. Yes, I'm anxious. I'm moving in 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks from this past Friday to a place that I visited a couple of times. Hey, shh. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Storms. Um, I visited. I have been around the area a couple times. Um, Still don't have a place to live because I'd been planning to live with my friend until my house sold, but my house sold. And of course, they've told me I can still obviously live with them, but I don't I don't want to intrude. For one thing. They have a newborn baby, as well as an 8-year-old, um, and several animals. And I have 2 crazy dogs. They're not really crazy most of the time, but you know, when there's other animals involved, maybe. They're just used to each other and me, not any other people or any other animals. So I am in the process of finding an apartment. I don't have time to fly down to or driving down to find a new place to drive down or anything like that. So I've found several places that I've sent emails to, and tomorrow I'm going to be taking the time to call and if I need to, my friend said she will gladly go and check them out in person for me, and I trust her, very much so, that, and trust her opinion that if she says I wouldn't move here, then I wouldn't. There are apartments that are right next to her neighborhood, that I'm very tempted just to get, because I just feel like that would be kind of a safety net for me. That way, if I'm at school and I need somebody to go walk my dog, just to let my dogs out or something, because, I have to stay late or something like that. They're going to be in a new environment. They've never lived anywhere but here. I've been here for almost 9 years, and they're almost 9 years old. So it's going to be really hard for them to get used to, and I know that. So I'm going to try and keep myself as calm as possible because I know they'll feed off of that, and they'll be able to kind of, yeah. So anyway, that's craziness that's been happening in my life. I am going to put right after this, I took a video of my house right before the realtor came to put it on the market last week. So you guys can see I've only ever showed video of my house in complete and utter disarray. So I'm going to show a video, I'm going to attach a video of my house completely clean. What's that all about? So anyway, I hope this finds you well, and if not, peace be with you, I guess. I don't know. Talk with someone. Like I said, that's always helped me. That's helped me a ton, and that is one of my big fears, is my counselor's not going to be there. And of course, she's told me that I can call her anytime, but that is my big fear, is my counselor will not be there. And I'm sure I'll be able to find a new one down there, but that will be really hard for me because I've been going to her for almost 4 years, so she knows me. She knows all my my weird quirks, and she knows that I try and laugh stuff off rather than cry or different things like that. So, yeah. So find your person that you can talk to. Don't just try and laugh it off, because you need somebody. Sorry, my nose is doing like crazy all of a sudden. You need somebody to talk to. Anyway, that's my craziness of right now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye. This is the cleanest you will ever see my house. My house is going on the market. Yes, I know that is a mess, but what do you do with wires? Eat cake for breakfast. Yes. Metal chairs. Yard. Let's go this way. Nothing on the refrigerator. bathroom. That was not closed. My bedroom. Back bedroom. Don't know if I'll make it downstairs or not. I forgot to get a mat for the front door. Here's the front. Going downstairs, look at my lovely hardwood floors. Here's this room with my dogs in a cage and they're very unhappy. Let's go over here to this bathroom real quick. Yep, there's still LuLaRoe. See? Isn't it lovely?